Hello everybody, this session is going to be about one of our equipments. So for us as a perfusionist, equipments are very important because it helps us to select proper equipments for any procedures. It also helps us in improving the performance and patient outcomes. So knowing the equipments in details is very important for either diploma students or degree students. They may be in any year. For all of them, equipment is very important. So first, what are the common equipments that we use in our routine CPB? So first is blood pump. Next one is reservoir. Third one is oxygenator. Fourth one is tubing. Fifth, different types of filters. And cardioplegia delivery system. There are many more other equipments also, but these are commonly used in our routine CPB. Other equipments are also there for special cases or for some other purposes. So I will discuss in next any other videos. So in this video I will discuss about blood pump and other equipments. I will discuss in later in next parts of the video. So for first year, before discussing blood pump, I am showing you a simple schematic diagram of our CPB circuit. So assume this is the patient we are operating on, patient who is being operated. From patient we draw blood either from patient's SVC and IVC or directly from the RA. We draw blood from SVC, IVC or RA to where? To our venous reservoir. What equipment I forgot to mention in the first chart was also cannula. So from venous reservoir, blood then goes to blood pump. From blood pump, blood is pumped to oxygenator. From oxygenator to arterial filter. From arterial filter to patient's aorta. Again, another line comes from oxygenator. This goes to cardioplegia. Delivery system. We may use cardioplegia delivery system or may not. We can manually deliver the cardioplegia as well. It again goes to patient. There are many more bypass lines, like from oxygenator, one bypass line goes to venous reservoir. There are many more. I am not detailing those things. So I am going directly to blood pump. So what is a blood pump? It is a device. It is a device that collects blood, or it is a device that circulates the blood from patient's body again to patient body through the extracorporeal circuit. The whole schematic diagram which I showed as a whole is called the extracorporeal circuit. Extracorporeal means outside body. So blood pump is a device that sucks out the blood from our reservoir and then pumps through oxygenator into patient's body. So as a definition we can write that it is a device that circulates blood from patient body again into patient body through the whole extracorporeal circuit. Through extracorporeal circuit. So basically what its job is? Its job is actually the job which our ventricles do. What our ventricles do? It pumps the body. RV, right ventricle, pumps the blood into pulmonary circulation. Left ventricle pumps the blood into systemic circulation. The same thing is done by the blood pump, so that we can do the heart's job through our extracorporeal circuit. So it does the work of our heart's ventricles. This is a purpose of the blood pump. Next is, what are the characters of ideal blood pump? So what should be the characters of ideal blood pump? It must be able to pump the blood or push the blood against a significant pressure. Now, which pressure? Our systemic vascular resistance, against which our LV pumps the blood. In case of blood pump, this pumps the blood against the systemic vascular resistance as well as the resistance offered by the extracorporeal circuit. the resistance offered by the extracorporeal circuit is minimal, whereas the main role is played by our systemic vascular resistance. So it must be able to pump blood against significant pressure. Next is minimal damage to the blood cells. So the pump, an ideal blood pump should cause minimal damage to the blood cells. Otherwise, what will happen? A huge amount of hemolysis will occur, which will cause the organ failures. So, must cause minimal damage to blood cells. Next is the design. The design of the blood pump should be very simple so that it becomes very user friendly. Otherwise, if it becomes very much complicated, if any complication occurs during the OT, it will be very much hard for us to operate it, to change its settings, etc. So design must be very easy. Design must be very user friendly. It also must lack dead space. No dead space. There should be no dead space in the blood pump, otherwise our priming volume will be very much higher, and higher hemodilution will cause very much other complications. So next is number 5, calibration. Must be easy and reliable and reproducible. So that if at any time calibration becomes imperfect, so we can readjust the calibration very easily. Next is available for both manual and automatic operation. Why we need manual operation? Because at the time of power cut, which is very uncommon in OT, but if occurs, what will happen? Then we must have option of manually operating the pump. So must have manual and automatic mode. Manual and automatic, both mode. Next is types of blood pump. So what are the types of blood pump? Blood pump mainly is of two types. Number one, displacement Number 2, rotary. In displacement types, we have occlusive roller pump, occlusive roller pump. This is the most common type of pump that we use in our routine CPP. Next is non-occlusive roller pump, which is no more in use. In rotary, we have axial, diagonal, and centrifugal. In rotary, we have axial, diagonal, and centrifugal blood pump. Among all rotary pumps, centrifugal is of the most importance. In this session, we will mainly discuss about occlusive roller pump. So first, what are the components of a occlusive roller pump? So first are the components. First component of occlusive roller pump is pump housing. And the second component is operating console. Inside pump housing, we have two rollers, raceway for tubings, a back plate, and inserts. Now, inserts are that part from where that tubings enters inside the housing and again exits from the housing. We call them inserts. There are various types of size like half inch, 3/8 or quarter inch, etc. These inserts can be changed according to the tubing size which we will use. And the last part is the occlusion regulator. Occlusion regulator or occlusion regulating knob. So this thing helps in adjusting occlusion. Now what is occlusion? I will discuss it later. First, let me show you a diagram so that I can show you which part is. So So if we see from above, our roller pump seems something like that, where this is the occlusion control regulator or occlusion controller knob, which is in the middle, and two rollers in two opposite sides. From here tubings pass from here. This passage is called the raceway for the tubings. The plate which is behind the tubings passage, this thing is called the back plate. And if we see from the front side, we will be able to see in this shape these two, one for entry of the tubings, one for exit for the tubings. These two are called the inserts. There are two inserts. Now, working principle. Assume this is a tubings. This is a tubing. And this is the roller pump. So what it does, assume this is a tubing and this is the roller pump. Now what it does, the two rollers opposite to each other occludes the tubings, and this creates negative pressure at inlet, which draws the blood inside this loop, inside the loop which is inside the housing of the roller pump, and this roller gradually push the blood column. Gradually, when this roller moves in this direction, this gradually push the blood column towards the exit point. That's why as it displaces the blood column through the tubing, so assume this thing when rotates and comes in that position, and this comes to here, this whole blood column that has entered the housing of the pump, that is displaced from here to the exit point. This is why it is called displacement pump. This is why it is categorized as displacement pump. Again, সহজ কথা, এই যে দুটো রোলার অপোজিট টু ইচ আদার, মানে দুজন ঠিক উল্টো দিকে, দুজনের মধ্যে 180 ডিগ্রি অ্যাঙ্গেল থাকে। তো একটা রোলার যখন এন্ট্রি পয়েন্ট, এটা যদি এন্ট্রি পয়েন্ট হয়, এই পয়েন্টে যখন টিউবিংটাকে অক্লুড করে রোলারটা যখন এইদিকে মুভ করে, তখন একটা নেগেটিভ প্রেসার আর একটা সাকশন প্রেসার ক্রিয়েট হয়, যেটা আমাদের রিজার্ভার থেকে ব্লাডটাকে ইনলেটের দিকে টেনে আনে, নেগেটিভ প্রেসার সাকশন করে। তো ব্লাডটা হাউজিং এর মধ্যে যে টিউবিং এর লুপটা থাকে সেটার মধ্যে এন্ট্রি নেয়, এন্ড গ্র্যাজুয়ালি এটা রোটেট করে এইদিকে, আর এই রোলারটা গ্র্যাজুয়ালি এইদিকে রোটেট করে। দে মুভস অপোজিট টু ইচ আদার। এই রোলারটা এইদিকে মুভ করে আর গ্র্যাজুয়ালি এই রোলারটা অপোজিট ডিরেকশনে মুভ করে আসে। তো এই দুটো রোলারের আরেকটা ডায়াগ্রাম দেখাই, তাহলে একটু সুবিধা হবে। যখন এই রোলারটা মুভ করে এই পোরশনে আসে, এই যে হোল ব্লাড কলাম, এই যে দুটো রোলারের মাঝে যে এই ব্লাড কলামটা থাকে, যখন এটা ঘুরে এই পজিশনে আসে, তখন গ্র্যাজুয়ালি ব্লাড কলামটা ডিসপ্লেসড হয়, মানে বাইরের দিকে ডিসপ্লেসড হয়। এগেইন এটা রোটেট করে এই পজিশনে আসে, তখন ফুল ব্লাড কলাম বাইরের দিকে চলে যায় and towards our arterial filter. This is why it is called positive displacement pump. Again, I don't know if I am able to make you understand or not. Please comment in the comment section if you cannot understand it, so that I can explain it in any other way in next video. And if it is not understandable, then I will try in another video to explain you in more easier way. So this is the working principle. Next, what is occlusion pressure? So what is the occlusion? Whole the time we are talking about occlusion. So what is occlusion? So this is one side of the roller. So you can easily see what roller does to the tubing is it occludes the tubing. It occludes the tubing so that when it goes in this direction, it can create a negative pressure in that side. When it moves in this direction, opposite to its moving direction, it creates negative pressure, and towards the direction which it moves, it creates a positive pressure. And this pressure are due to this occlusion. So now how we can define occlusion pressure? So it is the pressure exerted. Who exerts the occlusion pressure? The roller pump. So exerted by the pump. what roller pump exerts the pressure on the tubings. So by the pump on the tubings. So what is behind the tubing? In the previous part I told you in housing, the tubing is in the raceway, and behind that raceway we have the back plate. We have the back plate. We have the back plate of the roller pump. This is one side of the roller pump I am drawing. So where is the tubing? The tubing is in the raceway. So exerted by the pump on the tubing which is in the raceway, and this pressure is exerted against the back plate. This pressure is called the occlusion pressure. Again, the pressure exerted by the pump on the tubing which is inside the raceway of the pump. So in the raceway, and this pressure is exerted against the back plate. It gives pressure against the back plate. So in the raceway against the back plate is called the occlusion pressure. Now what are the advantages and disadvantages? First advantage is no direct blood contact. No direct blood contact. Again, I already told it creates negative pressure at the entry point of the tubings, so it is not dependent on the preload. So not dependent or independent on preload, and cost effective. Now, how cost effective? You can say that how can be a roller pump is cost effective, because it comes in a huge heart-lung machine, and this costs lakhs of rupees. It is cost effective because this can be reused for long term. We don't need new roller pump for every cases. In the other hand, when we will go through the centrifugal pump, we will see that for every case we will need a new pump. So this is, in that way we can say that roller pump is cost effective. Now the disadvantages. Blood cell trauma. This is the most important disadvantage of the roller pump. Blood cell trauma. Why? Blood cell trauma. Why? Due to the occlusion pressure. The pressure it exerts on the blood, it causes trauma to our blood cells and RBCs, which causes hemolysis, that is lysis of RBCs. So this is the most important disadvantage. This is the most important disadvantage of roller pump. Next one is spallation. Now again it is also due to occlusion pressure. So what the spallation means? Spallation means the occlusion pressure is applied on the tubings. So what happens after using for long time, some parts of inner surface of the tubings like that or like that, those are microscopic, those you cannot see with naked eye, so those are microscopic, but parts of inner wall of tubings gets damaged, and this mixes with the blood. This is called spallation. Number 3, can create excessive negative pressure or excessive positive pressure as well. Now what will happen if excessive negative pressure and excessive positive pressure is created? Assume any part of the tubing is occluded mechanically by your hands, or we have by mistake we have put some clamps on the tubings and we have run the roller pump. Then what will happen? It will create excessive positive pressure and the tubings will rupture. And on the opposite hand, if we do not have level of blood in our adequate level of blood in our reservoir, then also its negative pressure, the excessive negative pressure will cause accumulation of air bubbles. It will suck air bubbles from the reservoir into the blood circulation. These are the disadvantages of roller pump. And the last, it is user dependent. It is dependent on the user's efficiency. How? Because the occlusion pressure, the occlusion, we have to set it manually. So it is dependent on the user's efficiency of setting occlusion. Now what happen if it is the occlusion pressure is not adequate or it is over occluded? If under occluded, it will not suck the blood from the reservoir, so the flow we will not be able to generate the blood flow. And if over occluded, it will cause excessive amount of hemolysis and blood cell trauma. Hemolysis, that is blood cell trauma. So this is all about roller pump. In the next video we will discuss about the centrifugal pump. So for this time it's all for roller pump. So goodbye, take care and stay happy.